What are some lesser-known facts about the Rings of Power? When we think about the Rings of Power, we often focus on the One Ring and its dark legacy. However, there is a lot more to the story. Let's uncover some lesser-known facts about these powerful artifacts. First, the forging of the Rings of Power took place during the Second Age of Middle-earth. Celebrimbor, a skilled elven smith, played a vital role in this process. Although Sauron, disguised as Anatar, taught the elven smiths how to create rings, Celebrimbor had his reservations. He secretly forged the 3 elven rings without Sauron's direct involvement. This decision kept those rings free from Sauron's corruption, but they were still connected to the One Ring. Next, let's talk about the 7 rings given to the dwarf lords. Unlike the elven rings, these rings did not turn their wearers into wraiths. Instead, they enhanced the dwarves' natural abilities, especially in mining and crafting. This boost in skill led to great wealth, but it also attracted dragons and greed, causing strife among the dwarves. Now consider the 9 rings given to mortal men. These rings granted power and extended life, but they came with a dark price. The men who received these rings ultimately became enslaved to Sauron, transforming into the Nazgul, or ringwraiths. They lost their physical forms and became shadows bound to the One Ring. Interestingly, there were also lesser rings beyond the 20 great rings of power. These lesser rings had minor powers and were simpler in design. Their exact number and abilities remains a mystery. Unlike the great rings, these lesser rings did not rely on the One Ring for their power and may have retained some influence even after the One Ring was destroyed. The One Ring itself was unique. Forged by Sauron in the fires of Mount Doom, it was a plain gold bin without any decoration. Sauron infused much of his own power into this ring, making it the source of his strength. The inscription on the ring, visible only when heated, contained a spell that bound the other rings to it. The One Ring could only be destroyed in the same fire where it was made. Another interesting fact is how the 7 rings were delivered to the dwarves. Celebrimbor personally handed these rings to the dwarf lords, showcasing the trust and cooperation between elves and dwarves at that time, despite Sauron's looming threat. Finally, the powers of the elven rings were inhibited while the One Ring existed. Even though the elven rings were not crafted by Sauron, their power was still linked to the One Ring. When Sauron possessed the One Ring, the elven rings could not be used to their full potential. The elves chose to remove their rings to avoid Sauron's control. These lesser-known facts reveal the complexity and influence of the Rings of Power throughout the ages of Middle-earth. They shaped the destinies of elves, dwarves, and men in ways that go beyond the central story of the One Ring.